Welcome to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets for Thursday, October 14th. We got a 9-game slate to go through. I'll be your host today. My name is Cecil Peters. You can find me at cecilpeters.com, where I talk about golf in the summertime, and now that we're switching over closer to winter, talk about hockey, talk about betting hockey. I also run an NHL betting and DFS package. You can contact me via the website or on Twitter at CecPetes if you want more information on that. With all that said, we got 9 games to go through, so let's get right at it. First game on the docket is the New York Islanders plus 105 against Carolina minus 125 at DraftKings Sportsbook. For me, this year, anytime I see the Islanders at plus money, it's going to be a green light, and I'm going to make that bet, at least until they prove me wrong. So I'm making this bet early. Islanders plus 105 against the Hurricanes. I just think the Islanders have the best top-to-bottom roster in the Eastern Conference. Carolina is close. The one area where I think the Islanders have the big advantage is in net with Ilya Sorokin. He's also probably going to be my top target for a DraftKings goalie on the slate. The Islanders allow a ton of shots from the outside. Carolina takes a ton of shots from the outside. Sorokin's a really good goaltender, so he should see lots of shots, and I do expect him to get the win here. But like I said, the Islanders at plus money is an auto bet for me until they prove me that it shouldn't be. So that's a bet I'm making. Second game on the slate, Montreal minus 125 against Buffalo. I thought this was maybe a mistake when I first saw it. I had to do a double take. Buffalo's got one of the worst rosters in NHL history. They have a chance to be the worst team of the expansion era. 82 games, they'll be lucky if they get up to 20 wins. So, talked about a green light with the Islanders at plus money. Anytime Buffalo has an opponent that's better than minus 150, take it. So minus 125 for Montreal, easy bet. Now, I am recording this before the previous night's game, so I'm not sure how Montreal fared against Toronto, but it doesn't matter. This game is based on the Sabres being awful. Right? So Montreal over Buffalo minus 125. The next game on the night, I'm not overly interested in betting. We got Pittsburgh as a road dog in Florida. Pittsburgh just beat Tampa in the same situation. They came in, Tampa raised the cup banner, and Pittsburgh shut them down, right? The score ended up being 6-2, but they got 3 empty net goals. Tampa scored theirs late. So Pittsburgh played a tight defensive game, didn't get a ton of scoring because they're missing their top guns. They're missing Crosby. They're missing Malkin. But they managed to get the job done. They got scoring from up and down the lineup, and they just got the win. Now, I still don't think Pittsburgh's a very good team. I think they kind of caught Tampa Bay in a spot. So until I see more from Pittsburgh, I'm not going to bet them. I also don't think Florida is as good as expected, so I don't want to bet them as a big favorite. So this is just a game that I'm not going to touch. Now, the next game here, I'm definitely going to bet. It is the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Arizona Coyotes. Columbus is a team I plan on betting early this year as an underdog quite a bit. However, this matchup, they get the Buffalo Sabres of the West, the Arizona Coyotes, another team that has a horrible roster. It just looks like they're not trying to win hockey games this year. So yeah, Columbus is minus 135. That's not a number I expected to see on them very much early in the year, but the matchup justifies the number. Minus 135 for Columbus is a great price. Now there's a couple players I'm going to focus on in this matchup for DraftKings purposes, for shot props. Hey, and that's the main guy here for me is Patrik Laine. He's out of court's John Tortorella's shadow. That was kind of the big excuse for him in Columbus. A lot of people said, well, Laine in Columbus with Tortorella is not going to work. And it really didn't. It didn't work. They didn't have great success last year. Tortorella's gone. Laine's got something to prove. I think he has a massive year. I think it starts tonight against the Coyotes. He's got a new setup man, Jake Voracek. On DraftKings, that's going to be one of my big stacks of the day. Voracek, Laine, looks like Alexander Texier is going to be their centerman. Going to pair them with Zach Werenski on the back end. I expect a big night and big offense from Columbus, especially on the power play. Next game is another no bet for me. Tampa Bay is minus 300 on DraftKings Sportsbook to beat the Detroit Red Wings. Listen, when you get a game like this, when a team is so heavily favored, unless you think the underdog has a chance to win the game, you just don't bet it. I'm not a guy who bets puck lines. I don't like that. I don't like waiting for the empty net goal at the end. So I'm just not going to bet the game. Now, Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov were very, very quiet in the opening night against Pittsburgh. I expect that to change in a big way. Kucherov's going to get some points. Braden Point's going to get some points. Put them on your DraftKings lineup, and you will make some money. The The next game is another massive green light for me. We got the Dallas Stars plus 105 rolling into New York to play the Rangers. Now, the Rangers as favorites against Dallas just doesn't make any sense to me. Dallas has a deeper roster. They got better defense. The only issue is maybe in net. But New York, coming off a back-to-back game, will be starting their backup, Alexander Georgiev. So this is a perfect opportunity to not only bet the Stars at plus money in a game where they should be the favorites, but it's also a perfect chance to play guys like Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, Alex Radulov on DraftKings, Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski. Okay? The top two lines of Dallas are both firmly in play here. I love them both. Right? I'm going to be making 2 score bets on Hintz, on Radulov, and I'll also take both those guys for first goal. Okay? So I got Dallas to win at plus 105. I got over 5.5. I believe that's at minus 120. And then I got Hintz to score, Radulov to score, and both of those guys for opening goal. So a lot of these games I don't have bets in. You can kind of be picky when there's so many games. Dallas Rangers, I got a lot of things I like, so we got a lot of bets for this one game. Okay, the next game is another one I'm going to stay away from for now. Toronto minus 170 in Ottawa. Back-to-back for Toronto. Honestly, I thought this game would be closer to minus 200 for Toronto. Minus 170 is tempting, but still I'm not going to bet it. I want to see how Ottawa comes out to start the year. They're a young team. They could come out playing really well. All they need to do is get a couple saves from their goalies, get a little bit of confidence in the back end, and they're actually going to have a decent chance of being competitive this year. They're probably not going to win a lot of games. Their defense isn't great and their goaltending is bad, but they at least have a chance to win some hockey games and be competitive. Next game on the slate here for me is the Vegas Golden Knights in LA. So Vegas is minus 155, LA is plus 130. The one thing I want to focus on here is looking at these teams and the way that they played each other last year. So Vegas near the end of the year was minus 230, minus 240, sometimes minus 300 against Los Angeles. Now, Los Angeles improved a bit in the offseason, but not enough to close that gap where Vegas is now minus 155. So they showed that they can win in their first game. Right? They got up to a big lead. They gave it up, but they battled back. They ended up winning the game. Okay? They got offense from the first line. They got offense from the second line. The defense jumped in on the play. Okay? Vegas is rolling early. LA is improved from last year, but still not a playoff caliber hockey team. So Vegas minus 155 is an easy bet. The one other thing about the Vegas Golden Knights is they get a lot of contributions from their defense, more so than any team in the league. They run their offense through the guys on the back end. Okay? Lots of shots from guys like Shea Theodore, Alec Martinez, and most of all, Alex Pietrangelo. Now, he got a ton of shots in the playoffs, averaged 4 shots a game all playoffs long. Last game, I took him in the over 2.5 shots. He ended up with 2 shots, 2 blocks. Played him on DraftKings, same thing. 2 shots, 2 blocks. Not a massive night. However, he was active all night. He had some shots blocked. He had some shots that just missed the net. I expect him to get 4 or 5 shots in this game. So I'm taking the Alex Pietrangelo over 2.5 shots prop whenever it's offered. And I'm also going to make him a staple on my DraftKings lineup. And I expect him to hit the shots bonus and the blocks bonus in this game. All right, and then the next bet here is Seattle, the team that Vegas played against Nashville. This is another game I'm not really interested in betting. The one thing I noticed from when Seattle played is that they don't have a lot of offensive firepower. Kind of similar to the way Vegas does it. They ran a bit of their offense through the back end, especially on the power play. But the only guy you can really play on defense, well, I guess there's 2. Vince Dunn runs a second power play unit, had 3 shots. But Mark Giordano was the real star of the show for me. Played over 23 minutes, played power play, played penalty kill, blocked a couple shots, and took 5 shots. That was the big one for me. No one else on the Seattle Kraken roster was close to that. So Giordano with 5 shots on goal. He's really the only playable member of this roster. None of the forwards have enough scoring punch for me. I liked Morgan Geekie. He played really well. He was kind of him and Vince Dunn were kind of the focal points of the second power play unit. But he still only got 50 minutes a night. He's not going to get a ton of ice time yet, as they really loaded up on their first 2 scoring lines as far as ice time goes. So I'm not interested in anything on the Kraken yet. I just expect both of these teams, Nashville included, to not be very good this year. And with so many different games to bet and so many things I like, I'm not forcing a bet on Seattle. I'm not forcing a bet on Nashville. I'm just going to stay away, watch the game. Interested to see how Seattle adjusts, how they change up their lines. They had some COVID issues. They do have some players missing. But it's just not a game I'm interested in betting. So to wrap up the confirmed bets I have before moving on to the DraftKings slate, on the money line, I have taken the Islanders at plus 105, Habs at minus 125 against Buffalo, Columbus at minus 135, Dallas at plus 105, and Vegas at minus 155. Shot props, Patrick Laine over 2.5 or 3.5, whatever he's offered. I honestly hope that they offer 3.5 just so we get a better odds on that one. Alex Pietrangelo over 2.5 shots, I think is one of the locks of the night, probably the best bet of the entire evening. And I'm also going to add Mark Giordano over 2.5 shots, just in hoping that he continues his form from the first game. As far as to score props, I like Patrick Laine to score. I like Rupe Hintz and Alex Radulov both in the Dallas game to score, and I like those guys for first goal as well. Moving on to DraftKings, 9 games. Biggest slate of the year so far. The biggest thing for me is on these bigger slates is just stack full lines if you're playing GPPs. There's no reason if you're playing Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov not to throw on Andrej Palat. He's going to get a ton of points with those guys this year. I mean, the same goes for any line. Like, I got Jacob Voracek, Patrick Laine as my big duo of the night. I'm obviously going to play Texier, their center. Hey, I'm going to throw in Zach Werenski on defense with those guys. Right? It makes it so much easier. Instead of picking 9 individual people, you're picking 2 forward lines, and then you're mixing and matching your defense and your goalies. It's way easier. It's what usually wins these big GPPs. It's just the way to go. So full forward lines, sometimes even throw on a D with them. It gives you less decisions to make. And if one of your guys on your forward line hits, chances are the other guys are going to hit as well. So the players I like early, like I mentioned, Point and Kucherov, they got skunked against Pittsburgh in their first game. That doesn't happen to these guys often. I expect at least 2 or 3 points out of these guys. Going to throw Palat on with them. On defense, if you can afford to throw Victor Hedman in as well. He had a big game in their first game of the year. Going to be popular. Detroit's obviously not that good of a team. So that's kind of your chalky, high-scoring potential line of the night. The line that's obviously my favorite is Voracek, Laine, and Texier. Zach Werenski is a big favorite of mine on defense. I think I'm going to be going back to this guy a bunch this year. They just don't have a lot besides him on the back end. He's going to play big minutes on the power play, big minutes on the penalty kill. He's going to play in every situation. He's going to log a ton of minutes. Werenski's a great play. Another guy for me on defense is Alex Pietrangelo. I mentioned him when it comes to the shot props. He was active all over the ice. He didn't hit the shots bonus or the blocks bonus last game, but I expect him to hit both against LA. At least one of them. He should for sure hit the shots bonus. He was all over the ice, attempting shots. He had a bunch blocked. He had a few go wide. It's probably good for a couple points if Vegas starts putting up some goals, and he's going to get you your ice time, your shots on goal, and your block shots. A couple other lines I really like. As I mentioned before, I think Dallas is going to have success tonight. So either of their first 2 lines are in play for me. Hintz playing with Pavelski and Robertson. Pavelski's a massive scorer on the power play. And then Sagan, Ben, and Radulov. It feels like we haven't seen these guys play together for a few years, but they used to be one of the most elite lines in the league, and I look to them to get back at that form, especially against the backup goalie in New York. If you're looking at lines a little cheaper, a little more under the radar, Montreal's second line, Jonathan Drouin, Christian Dvorak, and Josh Anderson has shown good chemistry early in preseason. I like them. I also like going to Ottawa. Ottawa's not going to win a lot of games, I don't think, because of their defense. But scoring-wise, even without Brady Tkachuk, they got Josh Norris and Drake Batherson. Looks like they're going to play with Tim Stützle. That's going to be a great line to target early in the year. They're going to get shots. They're going to get chances on the power play. So Norris and Batherson, great combo for me. I like those guys a lot. I like throwing them with Thomas Chabot on the back end as well. And then when it comes to goalie, I mean, it's going to be Ilya Sorokin, right? Carolina takes a ton of shots. They always have. In New York, they allow a ton of shots. They let you shoot from the outside. That's kind of their MO. That's how Barry Trotz coaches. So Sorokin's going to see a lot of shots. He's going to be potentially in line for the 35 save bonus. He's one of the best goaltenders in the world right now. He just hasn't had a chance to prove it a bunch. So I like Ilya Sorokin a lot. He's going to be my goalie, cash GPP. He's the guy for me. With all that said, I appreciate you guys listening and watching to this. As Pat Mayo would say, smash the like button, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Everything you know to do with a podcast, with a YouTube video. It helps the show, helps Mayo Media Network, helps me out. Appreciate you guys listening and watching. Let's go win some money.